Rev up your engines!
Well, Ford Mustang Mach-E production is down. No surprise. Ford's making less of them because they can't sell them. In December, they only sold 5,735 units, and they decided we're going to have to make less because no one's buying them. They're stockpiling them up, and nobody wants them. Now, remember, these are all built in Mexico. Why Ford decided we're going to build a high-tech electric car. Let's make it in Mexico, people. But they work a lot cheaper, so that's what they decided to do. What a blatant mistake that one was. Ford's Mach-E Mustang now holds the honor, or whatever you want to say, dishonor, of being #1 electric vehicle in the United States that has an inventory higher than any of them because they're stockpiling and nobody's buying them. People just aren't buying them. The government can tell you, oh, you need to buy this, but people get them, they cost a lot of money, they're inconvenient, and Ford's realizing that. So guess what? They're going to build less of them. Like I said years ago, I said, they can do all this horse manure they want with electric vehicles. The government says, you're going to sell 50% electric vehicles by 2030, blah, 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 right? But if people don't buy them, that's not going to happen. And I just read a thing that one of these companies said, we're hoping that by 2030, maybe 20% of the cars will be electric cars. Even that's kind of pushing it, because the amount of electric cars on the road today in the United States, less than 1% are electric cars. They think that all of a sudden it's going to be 50%, in 6 years from now. I don't think so. Ford Motor Company now leads the nation, but not in something you want to lead it in. The amount of unsold vehicles they got sitting lying around. As of November last year, the last one they have records for, Ford had 105 days supply on the lot unsold. In June, it was only 75 days. Now it's 105. They have the biggest backlog of cars not sold, and that says something. That says people aren't buying them. They're making them, but they're not buying them. Now, of course, leading the pack is Ford's electric cars. They can't give those things away, right? But this includes their regular cars and trucks, too. They're lying there, and nobody's buying the things. They made them, but nobody's buying them. The average across the United States for car companies is 70. The 70-day supply, but Ford's got 105. That means they're like 40% harder to sell. No surprise with the quality problems that Ford's had. Anybody that follows the automotive business realized the last 3 years Ford has led the nation and recalled vehicles, problems with their vehicles, the Ford Bronco V6 engines eating valves. I mean, they've had so many problems. And of course, people aren't going to buy them. They're going to say, whoa, I just got a letter from a viewer thanking me, telling them to buy a Toyota. They bought a used Toyota with 100,000 miles. Then they put 40 more thousand miles on it, haven't had a lick of problem. And they bought it because they had a new Ford Maverick that's made in Mexico, and it had so many problems, they got rid of it. They traded it in. They didn't want it anymore. Right? And the thing was only a year old. Said it was falling apart. It was a pile of junk, right? Of course they're going to have a hard time selling their vehicles because they don't have quality anymore. You expect people to be stupid and buy things that don't work well? No. And like I said, this isn't just their electric cars. This is all their cars. The electric cars, it's even worse. Why would you want to buy from a company? Not only can they not build regular cars, you think they're going to make electric cars that work out that well? Of course not. Now, if you've been watching my videos, I warn people, do not put things in your OBD diagnostic port on your car other than scan tools when you need to figure out what's wrong with the car, then you unplug it. Because there's all these companies that say, plug this in and run it, and some of these moronic insurance companies say, well, if you put this plug in your OBD port, we'll give you a lower insurance rate if you drive less mileage and drive safer, blah, blah, blah. Those things weren't made to be plugged in. They're diagnostic ports, not to be plugged in all the time. Listen to what one of your viewers have to say. James DeBardo says, thanks for the video a while back not to put anything in an OBD port except to diagnose. My 2017 Nissan Titan had a service engine light on. My mechanic said 2 oxygen sensors were bad. About a month before, I installed one of those tracking devices for cheaper insurance. Then I remember watching your video. The mechanic that I went to cleared the codes, and I sent back the trackers. After 6 months, the codes have never come back. I warned all my relatives and friends about these. Don't use them. Thanks. You would think an insurance company would know you don't want to plug these things into your dash. It can interfere with how the car runs. Tripped his oxygen sensor codes. The guy had a modern car, and those have technically what are called air-fuel ratio sensors, and they cost hundreds and hundreds of dollars, so it would have cost them $500 or $600 to replace them, but there was nothing wrong except that stupid plug was in there. So listen to me. Don't put plugs in your OBD port. They're not made for that. They're called onboard diagnostic plugs for a reason. You plug it into diagnosis, and when you're done, you unplug them. LS King 3 says, my car is stuck in park. I got a 2008 Camaro. Get stuck in park unless I push a button under the shifter. Okay, here's the thing. You probably need a new brake light switch. Sounds crazy, but when you start your car, it's got a neutral safety switch, so the car will only start in park and neutral. And then you can start it and put it in drive, right? There's a little motor in there with a pin that locks it. So you can't put it in drive and then start the car. If you start it in drive, it might take off. It's a possible accident, right? So when you step on the brakes, the switch sends it to the brake lights, but it also sends power to the little motor that's by your shifter. It opens up so you can put it into drive. Well, in your case, you're pushing the button. That's the safety thing to bypass the motor that's broken. So you probably just need a brake light switch. And just out of curiosity, have somebody step on the brakes of your car and go to the back. You probably see your brake lights are not either, because that switch operates that too. All right, the Cybertrucks are out, but can they tow? Well, in the winter they can tow, but not all that far. A man took a dual motor, all-wheel drive Tesla Cybertruck, and he towed 11,000 pounds in cold weather, and he got a whopping 90 miles. That's all he could go. And this started with 100% charge and got down to 2%. Pretty much everything, right? And realize one thing, most of the time, you're going to start with an 80% charge, because when you go to charge these massive batteries up, they charge from 10 to 80% relatively quickly. Then to get from 80 to 100%, it takes forever. You'll be there over an hour charging and things, so nobody's really charging them that much. So in the real world, it wouldn't even have been 90 miles. It would have been more like 60-something miles before it ran out of electricity. As I've been saying over and over again, electric battery-powered vehicles are not made for towing. And of course, the Tesla Cybertruck already, the things weigh 6,800 pounds, the dual motor ones. That's a lot of weight. Just pulling itself is enough. They're rated for towing 11,000 pounds, right? They don't bother to tell you, hey, your range is going right down the toilet. 90 miles out of a vehicle that they claim has a range of 340. Yeah, they claim all kinds of things, you know? Old Elon Musk claims he's going to take people to Mars, but hey, I don't see that happening anytime soon, right? Failure of this stupid thing that he came up with, a truck that's not a truck, that's supposed to be able to tow, but then instead of 340 miles, it can only go 90 on a full charge, and on most charges, it'd be more like 69 miles, because you're going to start with 80%, and who the heck is driving something until it gets down to 2%? Then, if there's nothing close, you're screwed, right? It'd be like always driving your car until there's almost a quarter of a gallon of gasoline left. You know, you do that, you're going to get stranded when you do run out of gas. When you run out of electricity, it's a hassle. You're going to have to tow your vehicle somewhere. That's going to cost a bunch of money. They're not practical vehicles, people. Well, things are insane in California, but this is a new level of insanity. A man in California around Lake Tahoe, yeah, where all the money is, right, got a bill for $23,000 to be allowed to build a house on his own property. Now it's all the way at the Supreme Court. This man, George Sheets, bought a vacant lot not far from Lake Tahoe and decided to build his house there, right? But when he went to get a building permit, he got an unexpected traffic impact mitigation fee over $23,000. Traffic impact mitigation. Oh, well, this is going to affect the traffic around here. And so you got to pay $23,000. Talk about it. They just want to get money for nothing in California. No wonder everybody's leaving. Now, this has been going on since 2016. Sheets said he had to pay the fee, but soon after he sued the county, arguing that the amount wasn't proportional to the actual impact his project would cause on the roads. Yeah, it's going to do $23,000 of damage to the roads, having him build a house there, right? This was a small 1,800 pre-manufactured home. He said it won't cause anything like that kind of traffic impacts. The county asked Mr. Sheets to pay for pre-existing deficiency on highway and local roads as a condition of issuing him a permit. Why should he have to pay for those pre-existing deficiencies for those impacts caused by other users? Just another tax. Guy owns the land. He's got to pay $23,000 for traffic impact. I mean, it's gotten to a point of absurdity in California. How do these people allow these governments to get so much power and to take over? It is just insanity. You know, there's a real solution for that. Get the heck out of California. Don't come back, you know? So now he's had to take it all the way to the Supreme Court because the California courts keep saying, oh, this is legal. They can charge you whatever they want. This is California, the land of Texas. The Sheets himself says, I never believed I'd get to the Supreme Court, to be honest with you. Unbelievable. The guy buys a piece of land, then they Make them pay 23 grand for impact on road system. It's just these bureaucrats have been able to run rampant, and this is what happens. Don't copy California. So if you never want to miss another one of my new car repair videos, remember to ring that bell.